Functional programming is a word that is used very frequently in Java and other programming languages as well. So it is not very specific to Java only. Functional programming is about other programming languages as well, right? Java is historically not a functional programming language, but from the release of Java 8, there are some features that are introduced and they are trying to make it functional. So let's go ahead and understand the key rules that has to be followed in functional programming. So first rule that is to be followed in function as a first class citizens, right? When I say that function as a first class citizen, so it means that in any programming language that you are using this one, so instance of function can be created like string, int and other variables, right? So for example, you are creating any programming language, you create variables, right? So you have object, string, int, double, float. You assign the values into that. So in the same way, function should also be able to assign in a variable so that you can call it whenever you need it, right? So let me explain you this in example, then it will be more clear. For example purposes, I am going to write few programs in Java only, because we are basically dealing in Java programming language only in this video, right? So here it is PSVM. So when I talk about the functions as a first class citizen in Java, function as a first class citizen, a lambda expression is the closest thing that we can use to make function as a first class citizens, right? If you know about the runnable interface that is there, so if I want to create the instance of this runnable interface, then how we can do that? So one way is to create the instance of this, and I have to override here this runnable, right? This by using anonymous implementation of this runnable interface, right? And I have to write the body of this one, right? So running. So if I call this runnable, now I'll be able to trigger the run, right? So there is one more way that we can use the create the instance of runnable, right? So let's do that. So here it is. See these few lines and this is same, right? So when I trigger runnable one dot run, it is going to call the running, and when I call this one again, it is going to call this one. So this is the syntax about the lambda expression that is introduced in Java 8. And this way I can say that whatever we are writing here, it is a body of a function of this run method, right? And this is being holded into this runnable variable, and whenever I want to call it, I can call it, right? So runnable one dot run, right? If I call it, it will be triggered, right? So if I execute this, so this is the runnable is about multi-threading. This is not usually that you call runnable one dot run, but here I am just talking about the functional function as a first class citizens. That is why I have taken this example. So from Java 8 onwards, there are number of APIs, if I talk predicate, streams, optionals, that are introduced in a effort to make Java as a functional programming, right? So here you say I can call this one. So this is about the function as a first class citizen. Now I can create the instance of function like other. The body of the function can be holded into a variable so that they can be called whenever they need it, right? Next property is pure function. When I say pure function, so first rule of thumb that it says that execution of a function should have no side effect on state of the object, and the return value only depends on the input parameters, right? So let me show you this in example. For example, I'm writing sum. It is taking two variables int and 2, right? And when I write return n1 plus n2, right? When this will be called, when you call this sum method from name it static and instance, it doesn't matter, right? So if I call this sum method and pass two values 3 4, right? So anytime I call this 12 and 43, it is going to return the n1 plus n2 whatever I pass here, right? So I can say that return value only depending on the input parameters, right? So whatever it is returning, it depends on what you are passing. There is no other third factor that is affecting this thing, right? So this property that is satisfied. Return value only depends on the input parameters, and execution of this method should not change the state of the object, right? So this class, when you create the instance of this functional programming, there are no global variables, right? So if I say int value, right, so this is the global variable, that is that when you create the instance of this functional programming class, this int value will be associated with that object. And when you are calling this sum method, there is no change happening in the global variables, right? So that change will be happened when I say that make it static. When I say value, when I'm writing this line, this means I am changing the state of the instance by execution of this sum method. So anytime I call this, it is going to change the state. Now it is violating the property of the pure function, so this should not be there, right? So any function to be called as pure function, there are two things. The return value must depend on the input parameters only, right? So here it is happening. And execution, when it is called, this method is called, it should not introduce any change in state, right? So when I remove this one, it is also being followed, right? So this is about the pure function. Next thing is about higher order functions, right? Higher order functions, when I say that, so any function can take one or more function as a parameter, and function can return another function as a result. There are many APIs that has been introduced in Java 8 which are following this rule. So let me explain you one of that. So for example, I am creating a list. So this is the list of integers that I have created, and I want to process this things, right? So there is for each, this method is there, and here it is taking consumer. And if I want to just print the values inside this, I can do this, right? And it is going to print all of this. So what this for each is? For each is the method inside this list, right? If I go here, this is the for each, and this is a consumer, supplier, T. This is the action. This is one function that it is taking as a parameter, right? So this is the lambda expression. What you are passing here, you are basically passing a lambda expression here, right? So this function, this lambda expression that you're passing here, if I want to extract it into a variable, I can do that. So what type it is taking? It is taking as a consumer, integer, and action. I can pass it, and I can write here this s out e, and now I can pass this here action, right? And this is going to work perfectly fine, right? So now you can see that this is the function, right? And where this function, whatever you are writing here, where it is going here under the consumer. Consumer is a functional interface which has only one method, that is accept. And whatever you are writing here, accept, it is system.out.println is going here under accept, right? So under for each, I'm passing a function as a parameter, a function parameter, right? So the first property is followed here, right? So now coming to the second property about the higher order function, which can return a function. So let me show you one other API, that is predicate, right? So predicate is yet another API that is introduced in Java 8. So to define it, I can write a lambda expression here, and I can say it takes one parameter here, right? So I have to define a type here. Suppose it's integer, and I am passing here n. So it is integer. So if n greater than, if I am saying 23, this is the one value that I am giving here, right here. So here in predicate, so if I show you this predicate here dot here test, I say 12. Right, so what it is going to print, how it is going to execute it, it will be called test 12 is here, right? And 12 will be passed as n and 12 greater than 23. So false value will be printed here, false will be printed, right? Now coming to next one, right? So I have one another predicate dot negate. This is important one, right? So if I show you this here, this is the default method implementation under predicate API, which is returning another lambda, right? So this is the second property. Any function that can return another function as a return value, right? So it is returning another function here, right? So when I say predicate dot negate, and then I can call the test, and I call valve here, so it is going to print true. How? So when I say predicate dot negate, so whatever it has implemented, it is going to negate that. What it is going to return, it is going to negate that, right? So it has already flagged that thing, that whenever you call the test, whatever it is going to return, revert that, negate that one, right? So that is why it is going to return true. So now we have both the properties fulfilled under higher order function, right? So these are the three properties that must be followed to be called as a functional programming style, right? So now let's summarize this. There should be no state change. I have explained there should be no side effects. Immutable variables means when you call the any method execution, it should not change any value of the global state or anything like that. That is why only then it is going to be called as functional programming style. And you should prefer recursion over looping. So when you have to iterate through a number of values, so you should avoid looping but go through recursion, right? So this is all about the functional programming, right? So functional programming in nowadays is very much in practice. Most of the changes in Java 8 are about these functional style programming, right? So I'll be explaining other topics in the subsequent videos, right? So I hope you like this and you got the understanding about functional programming. You have any issue, any doubt about this, put that in comment section. I'll be happy to help you out. So I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.